Karen Swallow Pryor. She used to teach actually at Liberty University up until I believe 2019, and then decided to part ways, and I don't know why. She says it was something about academic independence, I think, like something wrong with Liberty, but she finds a home at woke Southern Baptist Seminary, Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, now under the helm of Danny Akin, who, by the way, was very much involved in pushing Ed Litton to be the president of the Southern Baptist Convention. Akin was tweeting, which I find entirely inappropriate, an entity head getting in the middle of what's in essence a political activity with the Southern Baptist Convention messengers. Akin tweeting as we're all going up there to vote, "You got to vote for Ed Litton, vote for Ed Litton." Yeah, Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary is the most woke of the Southern Baptist seminaries, I would argue, and that's saying something because there's wokeness kind of in all of them. But anyway, Karen Swallow Pryor, who is a professor at Southeastern, I'm sure some sort of a literature thing. She's a big a book person. I think she has a PhD in it's something like 18th century English literature, something like that. Something that it would be hard to get a job in the real world with that kind of education. But of course, you can always find a nice soft landing place in colleges, and in this case in seminaries. So she tweets out this a few days ago. She tweets out this against Conservative Baptist Network and Executive Committee member Rod Martin. She tweets out, "I also recently learned that Rod Martin, an SBC officer who, quote, harasses abuse survivors unmercifully on social media, is on the board of advisors for Liberty University's School of Business." Oh, I mean, how horrible. That sounds awful. Like, I can't believe that a guy who's been an incredibly successful entrepreneur and runs multiple businesses would possibly be on a board of advisors for a university school of business. He also happens to be a conservative Christian, I might add. And this board of advisors at a Christian college, Christian university, it's just and she says this, "I have yet to see any evidence that Rod Martin has ever harassed an abuse survivor." And so far, Karen Swallow Pryor has yet to show any evidence that this is true. Any evidence that this is true. And this is what it's come to with people like her that are now being called out for who and what they are and what kind of usurpation they're engaged in within conservative evangelical circles. Of course, Karen Swallow Pryor, many people would say she's a conservative. It's not even close, ladies and gentlemen. She's not even close to a theological conservative. She's sneakier and slimier than a lot of people in this conversation, and she's fooled people. She's fooled some conservative evangelicals into thinking she's legit. We're going to go over why she's not. But here she is making a totally baseless accusation against Rod Martin. And why? Well, because he's on the executive committee and he thinks waiving attorney-client privilege is stupid. And he's right. Totally stupid. It's totally put anybody within any Southern Baptist Convention institution at grave risk. And she doesn't like it because I don't think she would mind getting rid of everybody who's a Conservative Baptist Network guy or a conservative in the convention. So she's now going to be on the other side fighting against the conservatives on the executive committee from within a Southern Baptist institution, which, totally let's say a little bit corrupt for sure. But so she says now after this same day that at Liberty University, now she turns around to slime Liberty after she slimes Rod Martin, connects him to Liberty. She turns her guns on Liberty and says, on the provost watch, this is the new, president, Jerry Prevost, new president at Liberty, or it might be the interim president, I'm not sure, said under his watch, Jerry Falwell Jr. and his wife preyed sexually on young people for years. And by the way, we blew this open at Protestia last year, I believe. But then she says, other known sexual predators continue to be employed today at Liberty University, now under Prevost's watch as president. Is that right? Is that right, Karen? So wait a minute. You know of sexual predators that are on staff at Liberty? Who are they? So you're saying you're a college professor, and granted, not at Liberty anymore, but at Southeastern, and you know of known sexual predators. So people who have committed crimes against, I guess, students, maybe other employees at Liberty. Who are they? This is entire, and if you don't know, this is nothing more but Russell Moore style political hit jobs. This is exactly, assuming she doesn't know, and this was 4 days ago, and we have yet to hear who she knows about that's supposedly a sexual predator at Liberty. But this is the exact same tactic that Russell Moore used prior to the 2021 Southern Baptist Convention annual meeting to throw out baseless, nameless, faceless accusations against nobody to try to slime people like Rod Martin. So she says there are sexual predators employed at Liberty. Where's the Liberty University presidential search that they were promised? She knows supposedly of sexual predators at the school. Oh, and by the way, Rod Martin's on a board there for the School of Business because, of course, he's such a bad guy too. As she says in her other tweet, accusing him of harassing abuse survivors unmercifully with no evidence. Now, you want to know more about who this is, and the reason why I think that Karen Swallow Prior is an interesting character here, she has been relatively successful at fooling over the years legit conservative theologians and pastors who basically, her behavior or her associations or things that she said get brought up to them. They call her on the phone and she says, no, I don't do that. And then all of a sudden they flip and they're like, oh, well, I guess she's legit. She must be conservative. She must be safe. Now this is the same Karen Swallow Prior that supported the Revoice conference. Now she maybe she says she doesn't anymore. I don't know, but she certainly was all about it. And she still supports the idea of same-sex attraction Christianity, that you can be quote unquote gay and celibate and a Christian, which is not biblical. But in order to placate the culture and the world and the alphabet community, she has supported that idea. She has supported the idea that abortion isn't murder. She said that. She thumbs her nose at quote unquote Cracker Barrel Christians. So, basically the deplorables, to use secular political terminology, the same way that Hillary Clinton called Trump voters and conservative, regular folks deplorables. Karen Swallow Prior is on board with that. Again, she said abortion isn't murder. She attacks immigration law, promotes amnesty for illegals. She's a fan of Black Lives Matter. She says that poor people shouldn't own guns. She said that the Billy Graham and Mike Pence rule of trying not to be alone with other women for long periods of time is sexist. That's a sexist rule. So she started a feminist organization full of female pastors. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can see these links at Protestia.